I got goosebumps because the level to which Gurudev can multitask at so many dimensions. I will end my life. I am so depressed. I'm so low. I need you. And I said, how? I was right there in front of him. I remember one incident very specifically in Ganga where there was a formal meeting going on with non art of living people. There was an international delegation talking to Gurudev. It was a 40-minute meeting going on in Ganga. And I remember, I was taking notes of that meeting, and Gurudev was fully focused on that meeting. And I get a call. I stepped out to take the phone call because I thought it's somebody very senior and very important. So I said, let me see. So that person tells me on the phone that गुरुदेव का अभी अभी फोन आया, उन्होंने बोला है आपको ये दो तीन चीजें बतानी है. So I said, गुरुदेव का कभी फोन आया था? So they said, अभी 4 मिनट पहले फोन आया. I got goosebumps because the level to which Gurudev can multitask at so many dimensions, it is incomprehensible to the human mind. It defies every law of physics, chemistry, gravity, whatever that you know. In fact, this should be studied because I've seen him, we think sirf phone pe baat karna and then he's on the treadmill or he's taking a walk and he's on the phone and five people are talking. There are many things that are happening parallelly where he is working constantly that it is not possible for the human mind to fathom. I got goosebumps that day when that person called me up. And I said, how? I was right there in front of him. How could I miss it? Did I miss it? Was it something? And everybody in the room, whoever I asked, I said, was Gurudev on the phone? They said, no, he was not on the phone. And this was such an important message for that person. Can you imagine? Like that, I remember once, just before the Silver Jubilee, we were going with Gurudev in the car and I had printed out all his files. Those days, Gurudev didn't have his emails on his iPad. So I printed out, and those days, Silver Jubilee means, such high level official correspondence was going on. And I had printed out all those files, important, urgent, personal, miscellaneous, all that, and I had carried it with me. So I finished, he said, Gurudev said, kya hai? So I finished many of the important things. And I was sitting behind him in the car, and he said that, Jaina, और कुछ नहीं है क्या important? I said, नहीं Gurudev, ठीक है अभी. He has not even turned behind. He has just put his hand like that, pulled out a file from my stack of files. He's not looked down. Like that, he's opened the file and pulled out a paper without reading the paper or even glancing at it. And he said, ये important नहीं है क्या? And he threw the paper at me at the back. And I looked at the paper. You know what the paper said? It was from a devotee who had written to him saying, Gurudev, if you don't call me today, I will end my life. I am so depressed. I'm so low. I need you. This was a devotee from New York. So Gurudev said, is this not important? And I was thinking, what is important? Message from president, message from prime minister, letter from minister, all of that. And, Gurudev made me call him that evening and he started crying on the phone. He said, my guru really knows I needed him. He said, if he hadn't called me today, if you hadn't called me, I would have done something unthinkable to my life. And then Gurudev told me, call him immediately to the ashram. And Gurudev called him. He took care of him, Gurudev, and so much Gurudev has done. And so that is why for the master, everything is important. Everything is equally important and equally powerful. So it is not only, what you think is this or, what you think is important. That day I learned as a secretary very early that for him, everything is important. And not everything is, necessarily told to you at the physical level. Certain things you have to understand yourself.